Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today and to be able to speak to you about building a high-performing software team. My name is James, and before I go, how many of us are managers, tech leads, or probably staff engineers or senior engineers in this room? Oh, thank you. Okay, I see probably 4 or 5 hands. All right, I'm James, and over the last 10 years, I've built various software across different industries, and I've worked in teams. I've also had the opportunity to lead teams. And along the way, I started to pick certain things that high-performing teams do and what leaders, what they do to enable such environment. And today, I'm going to be giving you 5 keys on how to turn a team around. This is Leicester City, 2016. How many of us remember this moment? Okay, good. So for 132 years, this team has not won a single English title. In fact, they looked dead and buried before the game. A year before, they were certainty for relegation. In fact, the bookmaker, they put the probability of this team winning at 5,000 ratio 1. That means the probability of Kim Kardashian becoming the next US president was even greater. Yet, this team, they went around and they made history in sport. And you might ask, how can a cheap, not well-known players from non-worthy club go ahead and do almost the impossible? It boils down to leadership, teamwork, and the ability to work together, work well together and for each other. So when it comes to number one job of every leader is to build a team that wins consistently over time. And when the club manager expressed his sentiment, he mentioned in all his career, he has never seen a team so good at being together. He said, when they go on the pitch, they are 11, but they go there to win. And today's talk is not about sport, but it's about team building. How can you create a team that actually wins? The entire world runs on team. Teams build our road, they teach our children in school. In fact, a team put this event together. Over the years, we've learned when we come together as a team, we can do so much more together. In fact, there are archaeological evidences that suggested that early humans, they kind of like hunted together in tribes. But how do you actually build a high-performing team? I hope to provide you 5 keys today. But before that, let's look at when a team is performing. I do believe a team is performing when they deliver superior and innovative results. If you are leading an engineering team and you're leading a high-performing engineering team, that team will consistently deliver quality software products, something that is superior, and they always blow your expectation. And they don't do it one time. They do it consistently and reliably without sacrificing satisfaction and engagement of the team members. Here are the keys. The first one you should do as a team leader or a senior engineer is to create clarity, team clarity. So when a team has a goal to achieve, the most important thing the team can know is a shared understanding of what they need to do to achieve that goal. When a team lacks clarity, one of the things you see is that everybody's moving in different directions. So there are bugs, there are issues, and no one is actually responsible for it. They're trying to figure out what direction should they move, what should they prioritize. And this is where you see teams duplicating work, focusing on low priority work. So as a team leader, one of the things you can do is to create clarity around why are we doing this, the direction, and what are the role of members in that plan you've created. So there are 3 main clarity you should be creating in your team. The first one is the clarity of purpose. I like to think of this as why. Why does that team exist? So we like to name teams based on what they do. For example, migration team, onboarding team, or something else. But the why is why you are doing that thing. And why is the team doing what they are doing. So we all left our homes today to come to this place. If you miss your way, probably when you get there, you know, oh, this is not where I'm going. Because you have a sense of what the venue might look like, what to expect. You have a sense of what the end state is. So as a team leader, you should be able to help your team to understand why that team exists, what the destination looks like, what the end state might be. And the second one is a plan. So when you want to get to any point B, there are chances that there are multiple paths that will lead you there. That is why in engineering, there are usually multiple solutions to the same problem, and this is why we think in terms of trade-offs, right? So the main thing you can do is to create a strategy, just a plan that you can rally your entire team around. Like, this is the direction we are taking, this is what we're going to say yes to, and these are the things we are going to say no to. This is why what we are doing. And the last one is the clarity of responsibility. What are the roles of individual member in your team in that plan? What are the roles of everyone on that team? What are the things they are going to do to get to that destination? And the next one that I want to talk about is how do you actually create clarity? When it comes to reinforcing clarity, it's not something you do once and forget. It's something you have to do over and over again, over communicating them until it's actually clear. And let that team clarity inform the people you bring on board. As you manage people in and out, you want to make sure you hire people who are moved by the purpose, the team, reason why they exist. The next one is building a strong team. Not every one of us has the opportunity to build a team from scratch. But it's going to get to a point where you need to bring more people in as they go in and out. And one of the things you can do is to hire strong people in the team. Software is a team sport. It's a cross-functional thing that we do together. So if you want a high-performing team, make sure you hire strong people in product, strong people in design, and strong people in engineering. And when you do hire these people, hire for talent, people who have the skills, people who have the expertise that you need, and they are willing to deploy that talent. They are willing to go above and beyond to deploy that talent that they have. And another one is maintaining an optimum size. So when a group is too small, you will kind of like run into a risk whereby you have too many few people and they are not able to do what you want them to do. And when the group is too large, the communication links become really, really complex. And it becomes difficult to kind of like coordinate tasks. And at the same time, it becomes really, really difficult to have cohesion. So you want to make sure the team is not too large, and at the same time, it is not too small. And another one is stability. So one of the active patterns in the industry is to kind of like keep rotating people out, in and out of the team. So it takes some time for the team to be able to come together, understand how to work well with each other. But when we rotate people in and out of the team, performance suffer. And to be able to build a high-performing team, you need at least 4 to 6 months that this team can come together and work well together. Then the next one is synergy. I like to think of synergy as team connecting, collaborating, and work well together. Have you ever been watching maybe a sport team? At that point in time, you see performance improving. You see the entire team supporting and reinforcing each other. It almost feels as if they are connected by some invisible thread. At that point, it's no longer about individual brilliance or talent. It's about the team goal. At that point in time, you see teamwork, synergy happening. And as a leader, one of the things you can do to turn your team around is to continuously improve teamwork. Make sure there is cohesion. The team is in tune with each other. And I like the rowing, and I want to go into the concept of rowing boat. So when you have a rowing boat, there are 4 phases. The first one is the catch, and then the drive, and then release and recovery. So one of the things that is important among crew members is the proper synchronization of motion. If they are out of sync with each other, then they will not be able to move as fast as possible. These exist in team. When you have a team of an engineering team, and people who are moving in different directions, they are not in sync, you won't be able to have optimum performance. So as a leader, one of the things you can do is to make sure that the team is set up in a way that they can work based on the strength of individual in this team. And how do you build synergy? One of the things you can do is to create one goal, a team goal that is shared by everyone. So it is impossible to have everyone work on one thing, right? So make sure you define the team goal in such a way that everyone has a role to play. But at the same time, everyone is held accountable to the overall goal. When you have a team where someone A is working on something in their own separate corner, B is working on something in their own separate corner. So you won't be incentivizing the team to work together and achieve the overall goal. And when you see teamwork happening, recognize it, encourage it so that you see more of that. And another one is to break communication barriers. So when there is a breakdown in communication, you won't have synergy. So one of the things you can do as a leader is to implement good communication practices. When should we go async? And when should we go synchronous? And at the same time, what are the things people should share to enable others to be able to work effectively together? And another one is to create an open environment where everyone is transparent with each other. One of the culture that I've seen is being the fourth open, where nothing is hidden, no one is trying to hoard or kind of create information silo. And next one to create synergy is to build trust among team members. So trust is very important when you want to have cohesion in a team. And there are two types of trust that a leader needs to build in a team and that the members need to have among each other. One of them is the affective trust. And it stems from emotional interrelatedness, that I trust that you care for me, you have my back. And this is very important in a remote setting because you don't actually see it physically. And as a leader, one of the things you can do is to make sure you create a system where people get to connect outside of work. They get to learn about each other, what are the things that you like and what are the things that you don't like. And this will facilitate emotional bond within the team as well. And the next one is the cognitive trust. And this is a trust stemming from the brain that you have the skills and I can rely on you to do what you say you will do. So, and what you can do as a leader is when you hire people, make sure they actually have the right skill, competence to perform. And make sure you provide them feedback and help them to see how their actions affect the overall team. All right? And the fourth one, when it comes to creating high-performing teams, is empower. Empower your team and get out of the way. And I have a story around this. When I first started leading a team of engineers, so one of the things that I did, or the mistake that I made, was when there is a problem, I quickly jump forward. I kind of resolve inter-team communication problems, chase down dependencies, respond to pages, resolve incidents. Then, as my team scope area of responsibility increased, it was obvious to me that I needed support. I couldn't do it all alone. Then I came up with one strategy. I told myself, I'm going to show an example, how it is done, show a good example. And what I did, when there is an opportunity to resolve something, then I'll bring one or two engineers in the meeting. I try so hard to set good examples for them to follow, but the more I did this, the more the team drew back. The more they felt crowded out. The more they felt maybe it was easier, faster for me to do it than them. And those ones that didn't, they felt I robbed them that opportunity to create that design doc. I robbed them an opportunity to present that work to stakeholders. Then I realized my mistake. Rather than playing the assume step aside, delegate, and at the same time support and coach them along the way. And as a leader, one of the things you can do is to kind of grow everyone on your team, step aside and work yourself out of the job. And this is where you get performance, peak from your team. And how do you empower people? True empowerment is not about involvement alone. It's about and it's not about participation alone. It means enabling people to take ownership, make decisions, and contribute meaningfully in kind of like aligning opportunities that with everyone goes and create that opportunity for them to showcase their strength. So in this book, it mentioned two types of motivation. And the first one is the intrinsic motivation. And this is the motivation from external factors like reward, punishment, and all that. And the second one is the intrinsic motivation. And this motivation is something that comes from the inside of us. And as an engineering team, we do our best work when we are motivated intrinsically. This is when we kind of like leverage our creative, juice to kind of like build that thing. And what you can do as a leader is to learn, study the people in your team, look at their goals, how are they motivated, where do they want to get to, and how can you line up opportunities to kind of like grow them into that. And there are three components of intrinsic motivation. The first one is autonomy. And autonomy is when we have some level of control over what we are building and how we do it. And this is how we leaders, this is one of the mistakes we made. So we come up with one requirement, we've seen the customer problem, and then we already thought about the solution. And then we go to our team, this is what we want to build, this is the problem, and this is how to build it. So we rob our team that autonomy to be able to participate in how they're going to find that solution. So one way to disempower your team is to hand them future requirements, the problem and the solution, and say, just go build. So you want to make sure they have some control over, they understand the problem, and you come together to look for the solution. Then another one is mastery. We all have that desire to learn, to contribute, to be better at our craft. And as a leader, what you can do is to understand what are the goals of the people on my team. What is that thing they want to grow more in? What is that thing they want to learn more? And what are the opportunities that will allow them to do that? So no matter how complex that thing is, the more we do it, if there are opportunities to do it over and over, we get better with it. And what you can do is to make sure you learn that and help your team to grow into that. And the third component of intrinsic motivation is a North Star, something why it is worth doing. So when a team lacks, and that boils down to what I mentioned in the first part, clarity. When a team lacks clarity, they're just building that thing, they don't know why it's important. They don't know how it's impacting the world. They don't know the impact it has. So what you can do as a leader is to help your team understand why. This is the reason why we are building this, and this is the impact we are expecting. This is the impact it's going to have on our customer. Bringing that knowledge to your team will allow you to empower them. And how do you empower your team? One of the things you can do is make sure everyone has a say in what you're building. Make sure you are able to kind of like get their thought around what you are building in terms of the solution. You have the context, but provide them enough context in such a way they can make effective micro decisions in what they do. They are closer to the technology, most likely, so they know what is possible and they know what will not be possible. Maybe they might even know a better solution to achieve that goal. And then another one is treat them as curious problem solver, not like mindless resources, that they can think about the right problem and the right solution to the problem as well. And coach and make everyone become a leader. So I do think leadership is not about title. It's not about maybe your position. It's about driving change. And it's about initiating change and taking initiative. So one thing to have an empowered team, leadership has to be shared. It doesn't have to be something that someone who is a manager, a senior engineer, or a staff engineer has. It's something that has to be shared. So coach everyone on how to take initiative, on how to kind of like hone the team vision and grow everyone to become a leader on your team. And the last one, make room and get out of the way. Rather than dictating the solution, step aside, use questions, and help them to think about it. What might be the right solution? Or maybe is there a better way to do this thing? All right. And the fifth key that I want to leave you with today is a culture of continuous improvement. When a team reflects at how they are doing what they are doing and continuously make improvement, they get better and better over time. So a culture of continuous improvement is a culture that continuously review, reflect, analyze, and improve over time. So the most difficult stage of a team is when they are forming. So different people are coming together. They've not really understood how to work with each other. There are personality clashes within the team, different working style. And this man called Tuckman, he came up with a graph. And he said, a team will ideally go through 4 stages. The first one is when they're forming. They're coming together, and you can see performance will immediately drop. And the reason why it drops is because they don't know each other. They've not really developed deep sense of respect and trust with each other, and they get to storming before effectiveness will start to pick up again. So one thing you can do to shorten the time it takes from forming down to performing is to already create a culture of continuous improvement, continuously reflecting on what works, what doesn't work, and change it over time. A team that does that, it will be able to take on another, will be able to react, adjust, and improve over time. And when it comes to creating improvement, there are usually areas a manager or a leader should get signals from. One is the improving the process. This is how you build software. A process is maybe you use waterfall or maybe agile, depending on what the process you use. It's about improving the process. What is that thing that is causing bottleneck? What is the problem? Do we need to, rather than committing to multi-quarters long project, is there something we can learn to make sure we're on the right track? And the second area is improving people and relationship. So most of the problems you will face in a team will rely on the people and the relationship. So what are the traits or personality of the people on the team that is preventing effectiveness? And how can that be improved? Are there relationships that can be improved to make people on the team work well together? And the third one is the tools and development environment. So as your company scales, your tools will start to break down at some point. Your environment might not be enough to support the scale you are going through. So what are the improvements? What are the frictions you can remove to make sure engineers are able to deliver values on time? And the last one is the product. If you have a rock-solid team that delivers on time, and customers are not getting values from what you build, there is a chance that you might not be in business for long. So one of the things you can do is to continuously get signal from your product. How are they using my product? Are they getting value from the things we are building? Are they sticking around longer? Where are the sources of friction? What can you optimize to get more customer satisfaction? So look at all of these areas to see what can be improved. And to create a culture of continuous improvement in a team, it is important to create systems that allow people to surface things that are this pain point. And one of them is running effective retrospective meetings. Like, have you just concluded a project? Can we go back and reflect what really went well? What is that thing that we want to keep? What is that thing do we want to improve next time when we are picking a new project? And have we just completed a sprint? What really went well? What is that new thing we did that really helped us achieve our goal? What do we need to kind of remove? And also, it's creating a psychological safety. When a team does not have enough psychological safety, people will not be open to express their opinion. They will not be open to talk about things that can be improved. So you as a leader, one thing you can do is to make sure you create a culture that includes everyone on the team. They will be able to express their opinion, not a culture where people are afraid to share what they feel. And another one is to reassess process and tweak them as needed. There is nothing like there is nothing that should be set in stone. So a team that has a culture of continuous improvement is a team that knows that even if this is the process, it works, but tomorrow it might not work. And when it is not working, they are ready to discard it and bring something that works. And finally, I want to go through the summary of what we talked today. To build a high-performing team, number one, create clarity. Make sure people on the team understand why that team exists and the reason why they are building what they are building, what the end state looks like, what success looks like. And then the next one, make sure the team is strong. You have an environment that allows the team to be able to function. For example, the size is right, and at the same time, they are stable enough. They have the right talent across all the functions. And the third one is make sure there is team sync, there is cohesion, synergy in the team. And the fourth one, empower, get out of the way, rather than coach everyone to become a leader. And finally, create a culture of continuous improvement. Thank you.